Hello. Now, as some of you might know, I do have an American or NA account. I mostly play US destroyers on it, but every now and then my US destroyer will die, and I found myself quite bored while waiting for the battle to end. So I decided to start a second line while waiting, which is of course the Soviet cruisers. Now I've actually reached the Shchors on this account, and the Shchors is both one of my hated and one of my favorite ships. It tends to embody the ultimate Soviet Navy cruiser in this game, in the way that it's excellent as long as you can avoid being shot at. But if you get shot at, well, it's quite squishy. It doesn't have too much HP. Having 32k HP at T7 isn't exactly that good, considering your armor is absolute paper. You have a massive citadel, and your turn rate and handling isn't anything special in any way. But of course, to compensate for all of these weaknesses, well, you have a bunch of fast reloading, HE spamming guns with a really good fire chance. And I feel like this game kind of embodies the Soviet gameplay at this tier, which is basically try to annoy your enemies to death by constantly firing and constantly avoiding being detected or avoiding being fired at. Now in this case it looks like one of their guys have pushed straight through C, so I start turning away. I'm of course constantly gonna fire. This is something that of course the Shchors excels at, much like the Budyonny and the Chapayev, which is shooting at DDs at ranges that other cruisers tend to struggle at a bit, like 10 km volleys. You have pretty much perfect accuracy. You're constantly gonna be landing shells at this distance on DDs because your shell velocity is so great, your arcs are so great. You got these small caliber railguns which are fantastic when it comes to dealing with DDs, especially. As this Akatsuki is probably going to find out. Oh, he turned in. Never mind. Let's skip that volley didn't happen. Wait, this is engine broken and it's not using... Oh god, this is one of those DDs that don't use last stand. That's interesting. But regardless of that, that's what... I shot 12 guns, 7 hits. So the accuracy is quite fantastic. Now, of course, if you run my recommended build on Soviet cruisers, that means that the first tier 4 perk you should have been getting is Demolition Expert. And of course that 3% additional fire chance is fantastic. You can see what, 16.7 km away. Your base range is great, or well, your upgraded range without any spotter plane on anything. I'm of course gonna mock the guy who decided to charge through middle. I never understand why people do this. But for some reason there is this common thing on both EU and NA. People often ask me what are the differences on EU and NA, but it seems like people do the same dumb shit on both servers. I'm sorry if that offends you, but rushing down the middle and a DD alone, like seriously? It's one thing if you, let's say you contest the cap, you smoke up, and then once they start coming your way, you bail out of there, and your only goal was to distract them, or to like your only goal was to get them to chase you and in that way gain an advantage for your team. Or maybe, I don't know, there are plenty of just distraction plays that might be okay, but charging straight through the cap, the absolute best thing you can hope for in that case is trading 1 for 1. You trade 1 for 1 with someone else, and you manage to get 1 kill, and then you die right after. And that's the best case scenario. And if you consider that an achievement, that you manage to trade your life for someone else, then you need to up your goals quite a bit in this game. You should never have it as a goal that, wow, I managed to go 1 for 1, what a great game. No, you should have higher goals than that. Every game you should aim for killing every 12 of the enemies, and if you don't get all 12, well, damn it. It didn't work out, but at least I tried. But if you go for a play like rushing alone through the middle, well, then you're not really trying, are you? You're kind of just committing to this suicide play that at best will get you 1 kill, but most likely you're just gonna die like this guy did without really achieving anything. So those are stupid, I mean, they're reckless plays that have a chance of paying off. but that's a reckless play that really has no real chance of paying off. You have to, like, all the stars have to align. I'm sure someone will link me some replay of them getting 2 or 3 kills when they rush through the middle, and it has taken them God knows how many attempts, and all the other 100 attempts have been equally disappointing. So just don't bother with the... if you rush through the middle, I'm gonna criticize you. It's that simple, because it's just a straight up stupid play. And unless, of course, you have a, let's say, a division setup that's really good at dealing with it. For example, you can smoke up and then you can use radar. You got one, or you're Belfast or something like that. Ships that can somehow get a small advantage out of it. But even then, you're probably better used being on one of the flanks than actually wasting your entire division rushing through mid. Anyway, that's enough of mocking the dumb plays of rushing through mid. What you can see me do here is... You see, I'm once again undetected. You might not have noticed it earlier when I was shooting that guy, but I was undetected. Once again, I'm undetected. Of course, the case here is I park myself behind islands. Whenever I notice I'm undetected behind an island, well, I stop, I slow down. The Atlanta is spotting me now, but what exactly can shoot me here? Well, nothing really. The Shchors could turn and shoot at me, but I'm angled quite well against him, and I'm looking at him, so if I see his turns turn my way, well, I can accelerate and get into cover or angle or whatever. In fact, I'm constantly trying to keep this island between me and him, so the fact that the Atlanta is spotting me doesn't bother me at all. I'm playing the basic Shchors gameplay here, the most annoying Shchors gameplay there is. Constant, non-stop HE spamming on any big targets that I find. Battleships in this case, of course. And he's on fire, and he's burning, and he's taking non-stop damage. You look at my damage counter, well, you can't look at the damage counter anymore since he got torped, but it's constantly ticking. Now, Mayoko attempted to use AP. If it was any other cruiser than the Mayoko, I might use AP, but these have so much health, and they are so tanky that I'd rather just set a couple of fires on him. I'd rather get him burning than attempt to go for any sort of AP Hail Mary multiple Citadel volleys, because it's unlikely to happen. The Mayoko is rated as, well, until the inclusion of a lot of silly ships like the Flint and the Belfast, the Mayoko was my absolute #1 tier 7 cruiser. But now that there's a lot of silly ships in the game, well, you can't really rate it that high, but it is still the tankiest tier 7 cruiser by far. It's quite well armored, and it's got so much HP, so yeah, looks like he's just bailing. Once again, of course, I'm positioning myself behind islands, so he can't really see who's actually shooting him. All he sees is shells raining down on him, which is of course exactly what I want. The game is actually quite close. Both teams have lost 5 ships. We are still down a DD though, even though one of their DDs decided to help us out by suiciding down the middle. It's still gonna be quite hard. And looking at the Colorado, well, you might see Colorado on H10, which of course doesn't exactly fill me with confidence, because that implies that this Colorado is not very good at what he does and is more focused on surviving than actually winning the game. That's actually quite a common symptom, not just on NA, but it's on EU. Once again, people ask me what are the differences between the servers. I see exactly the same mistakes being done. I see battleships who are more focused on their own survival than actually winning the game. They focus so hard on avoiding damage, on trying to survive, on trying to do this and that they actually never bother to focus on being a part of the battle and winning it. Pop my spotter plane, and the range on the Shchors of course becomes absolutely absurd. 20 km range on a tier 7 cruiser is absolutely silly. So of course, in this case, I'm once again harassing a battleship. Yes, there's Atlanta pushing up, but once again he's pushing up the middle. He's bottlenecked in there, and well, if I really wanted to, I could probably like just charge and kill him, but he's not really that much of a threat. And absolutely ridiculous fire chance comes into play again. Constant non-stop shells landing on that guy. Well, he's got 2 fires sticking on him, and it looks like he can't repair them either. Well, if he's got 2 fires on him and he can't repair them, is he saving his repair, or can he simply not repair them? Because I'm very tempted to shoot the Gneiser now in that case. Oh, hello Kiev. Oh, there's a Kiev capping. Well, once again I switch to him, of course. Let's see, can we see this Atlanta? Legend of the Seas. I don't even remember what these achievements are. I of course hit the Kiev, as I said, very easy to hit the idiots in this ship. Those achievements, once again, this is quite a new account, so I get a bunch of weird achievements that I can't remember. I can't even remember what that one was. I'm sure it's great. And it looks like the Shchors is trying to charge into the smoke the guys are now sitting in, and his fires have run out, so I'm going to continue harassing him. You can notice that I'm angling away from the battleships. Once again, I don't really want to get any closer than this. I'm already a bit closer than I'd like, which is like, what, 13 km away? You want to abuse your range. You got great arcs, you can spam shells, and you deal mostly HE damage, not AP, so you don't rely on penetration in any way. So why on earth would you get any closer to the enemy than this? Which is of course why I'm just sitting in the far back and just spamming. Our Akatsuki is... I'm not really certain why he's smoking up. I really have no idea why. Wait, he's spotted. How did he manage to get spotted? He must have shot at something and gotten spotted, and now he has to smoke up. And now that did he forget about the Atlanta sitting in the hallway? Oh well, he's obviously gonna have some struggles there. These two grounded, or well, not grounded, rammed into each other. So I'm obviously going to try to make the most out of this situation. You notice that I'm sailing down towards the border. The reason is I want to make it hard for them to be able to bring all their guns to bear without showing full broadside to the enemy. In this case, if they want to shoot at all the other guys down there, well, then they can't really aim their guns at me. If they want to shoot at me and turn their guns towards me, they have to give full broadside to everyone down there, which is kind of what I want. Oh, damn it, he repaired. I really want to get a fire on him. Oh, he can't repair that fire. Let's see if I can get a second one. Second one would probably kill him, so I'm trying to get a second fire ticking on him. Switching to the Gneiser now. Is someone gonna finish that Shchors, or should I? Wither, of course, that's 60,000 fire damage. You might not see it that often on this tier unless you're playing something like a Bliska, but with the Shchors it's very much possible to get it, and without too many issues actually. As you can probably see, I'm constantly firing at them, and this positioning of mine that I mentioned earlier is becoming more and more painful for them. In fact, now I'm closing in, but I'm keeping to the border, so once again, if they wanna shoot me, they have to give so much broadside to everyone else, and I'm just in an awkward position. And that's something you want to... I talk a lot about positioning, and it might not be apparent, but my positioning here is very frustrating to them, because you see how this Shchors has to turn? He's turning to shoot at me now, and you see the way he has to turn, he has to give broadside to the Colorado, to the Pensacola, to all of this, just to be able to shoot at me, and it's so awkward. It's terrible for him. And that's exactly my goal. I want it to be awkward and terrible for him. Was he even shooting at me, or was he... No, he was shooting at me. I think he was dodging torps and shooting at me. And that terrible positioning for him is exactly what I want. Now, Nicholas tried to rush me here. Honestly, I don't fear Nicholas at all. They have to get so close to make their torps work. And I've considered it quite easy to dodge their slow torps. They're strong at low tiers, but at this tier, I mean... no fear. And of course with my HE volleys at close range, I just demolish him. So that was a double strike. I burned down one, and then I demolished the Nicholas with considerable ease. So burned down plenty of them. We got an advantage, but they've lost some caps, and I'm a bit closer than I actually like to be to this New Mexico. If he decides to hammer me, once again, the Shchors armor is extremely papery. Very papery, so even if I'm angled against him, he can still do massive damage to me, which is why I'm mostly focusing on trying to avoid his shells and get some distance. Oh, I got pretty lucky. I got some overpens on me, I think, there. So I'm just... he wasted his volley now, so I'm not afraid to give him full broadside and start turning away and kiting and creating some distance. Now, that Colorado I spoke of earlier is now sailing behind the island, away from all the combat, away from the New Mexico. I'm gonna assume he's very low or something, because he must be low HP to be playing this extremely passively and far away in his US battleship. So I'm of course gonna continue harassing New Mexico. As soon as he shoots, I turn away, I angle away from him to minimize the damage, but still, even though I'm looking at the minimap, you can see how far away I'm angled from him, and how completely angled I was. I still take heavy hits, and that's of course one of the downsides with the Shchors. The less someone shoots at you, the stronger you are in this ship. It's just not designed for tanking any damage. It's designed for what I'm doing now, as long as someone doesn't shoot at you. And positioning is incredibly important in this ship to make the most out of it. I'm just gonna continue harassing. The Colorado says he is too slow. They're telling my Colorado to go into sea. He says he's too slow to go into sea. Wait, he was... You just took yourself out of the fight. Our Colorado is sailing behind the island where he can't shoot at any of the ships. What? Okay, so... I'm telling him to man up, just like our rest of the team is telling him. Look how low our Pensacola, York and Pensacola are both basically dying here. Oh, and apparently our Colorado is full health. Oh god. So, what I mentioned earlier about... Okay, they've managed to deal with Atlanta, but I've gotten quite out of position trying to go and help them since I saw how low they were. And now this becomes an issue because now I gotta chase the Colorado. And he's gonna be sailing away. Luckily he's still shooting, but if he wisens up and realizes he doesn't need to shoot, he can just sail away. Then, damn it. Then this is probably gonna be a loss. Unless he continues shooting me. If he continues shooting me, then I can shoot him back and actually set him on fire. But it looks like he's just straight up gonna turn away now. Got another fire on him though. Cruisers should. I really thought this Colorado was dying. That's what I'm writing in chat. I thought Colorado was low HP, but apparently he was almost full HP and hiding. And my team isn't very impressed, of course, by this full HP Colorado who's been sailing around the island and hiding in the back. So, when people ask me what are the differences between NA and EU, like have I noticed any differences playing, and I can't really say I've noticed anything. I see exactly the same dumb shit. And now he's trying to justify his hiding by having a kill. Or, no, hiding, should I give it a kill? Like, does he think he would die if he wasn't hiding? I guess he doesn't understand. Someone says I think his name should be Potato. Yeah, which is of course amusing because my name is Potato God. And this is one of the things I mentioned in my Colorado commentary, and people trying to justify their poor positioning by saying the ship is slow, and that's something I really hate. People trying to justify their terrible playstyle and terrible pussiness and sitting in the back and campiness by trying to justify that the US battleships are slow. That's not an excuse when you hide behind islands and you constantly hide in the back line. He had 20 minutes of time to be useful, but he never did. And sadly, this game was lost. So, differences between... Wait, actually I want to look at this. 500k credits, 186,000 damage, and team score... Jesus Christ. Jeez, well that is pretty depressing. So I see exactly the same things on EU and I see it on NA. So differences, I don't really think there are many differences between NA and EU. They both play the same. They both have the same good players and they both have the same bad players. Very similar scenes, honestly.